Let us begin with a fundamental truth from Scripture. In John 1:1 we read, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Now, most people interpret this passage literally, thinking it refers to spoken words. But I tell you this, the word spoken of here is not mere language. It is vibration, it is feeling. It is the very sensation of your desire fulfilled. You see, my dear friends, when you truly understand this principle, you realize that imagination and vibration are one and the same. They are not two separate things, they are the same force expressing itself through different aspects of your consciousness. This is why the Bible tells us by faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the Word of God. This word, this vibration is your own wonderful human imagination in action. Let me share with you a profound secret about vibration and imagination. When you imagine something, you are not merely creating mental pictures. You are generating a specific frequency, a particular vibration that corresponds to your desire fulfilled. This is why feeling is the secret, for feeling is the language of vibration. Consider the story of Moses and the burning bush. When God revealed himself to Moses, he did not appear as words on a page or as mere thoughts in Moses' mind. He appeared as energy, as vibration, as living flame that did not consume. This, my dear friends, is a perfect metaphor for how your imagination works through vibration. You see, when you imagine your desire fulfilled, you are literally setting yourself aflame with the vibration of that state. But like the burning bush, this flame does not consume you, it transforms you. It transmutes your entire being into the frequency of your desire fulfilled. Let me tell you a story that perfectly illustrates this principle. Recently, a lady came to me desiring a new home. She had been using affirmations and positive words for months without success. I told her, stop using words. Instead, feel the vibration of actually living in your desired home. Feel the texture of the walls, the warmth of the sunlight through the windows, the peace and satisfaction of occupying that space. Within 2 weeks, she had her new home. You see, she didn't manifest it through words, she manifested it through vibration, through the feeling of actually being there. This is what Jesus meant when he said, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Now let us delve deeper into this mystery of vibration and imagination. In the book of Ezekiel, we read about the valley of dry bones, when God commanded Ezekiel to prophesy to the bones. It wasn't the words that brought them to life. It was the vibration, the energy, the feeling tone of life itself that animated them. This is exactly how your imagination works. When you imagine your desire fulfilled, you are not merely thinking about it. You are vibrating at the frequency of its fulfillment. You are literally becoming one with the state you desire to express. Let me share another principle that would transform your understanding of vibration and imagination. In Scripture we read, "Be still and know that I am God." This stillness is not mere physical quietude. It is a specific vibrational state where your imagination and your desire become one. You see, when you enter this state of stillness, you are tuning yourself to the perfect frequency of your desire fulfilled. This is why meditation and contemplation are so powerful. Not because of any words you might use, but because they allow you to align your vibration with your imagination. Consider the story of Elijah on Mount Horeb. God was not in the wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire. God was in the still small voice. This still small voice is not words, it is vibration. It is the feeling tone of your desire fulfilled. Let me share another secret about using vibration instead of words. When you imagine something, your entire being begins to vibrate at the frequency of that state. This is why Scripture tells us, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." Notice it says in his heart, not in his mind, not in his words, but in his heart, where feeling and vibration originate. Now let me tell you about a businessman who applied this principle perfectly. He wanted to expand his company but was struggling with traditional goal setting and affirmations. I told him, stop using words to describe what you want. Instead, feel the vibration of running a successful, expanded business. Feel the satisfaction, the confidence, the certainty of it. Within months, his business had doubled in size. You see, he didn't achieve this through words or planning. He achieved it by maintaining the vibration of his desire fulfilled. This is what Jesus meant when he said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom is not a place or a set of words. It is a vibrational state. Let us explore another aspect of this truth. In the book of Revelation, John speaks of hearing a great voice as of a trumpet. This trumpet is not producing mere sound. It is producing vibration, frequency, energy. This is exactly what your imagination does when it is properly employed. You see, my dear friends, every desire you hold contains within it a specific vibrational frequency. Your job is not to describe this frequency with words, but to feel it, to become one with it, to let it resonate through your entire being. I think of it this way. When you strike a tuning fork, it produces both sound and vibration. The sound is temporary, but the vibration continues long after the sound has faded. Similarly, words are temporary, but vibration, the feeling of your desire fulfilled, continues to resonate and create. Let me share another principle that will revolutionize your understanding of manifestation. When Scripture says, let there be light, it is not referring to physical light, but to illuminated consciousness vibrating at the frequency of desire fulfilled. You see, when you truly understand this, you realize that manifestation is not about using the right words or thinking the right thoughts. It's about achieving and maintaining the right vibrational state, the state of your desire fulfilled. Consider the story of Joshua and the walls of Jericho. The walls didn't fall because of the words the people spoke or the horns they blew. They fell because the vibration of victory was maintained until physical reality had no choice but to conform to it. This is exactly how your imagination works. When you maintain the vibration of your desire fulfilled, when you feel the reality of it with your entire being, the circumstances of your life must rearrange themselves to match that vibration. Let me tell you about a teacher who applied this principle perfectly. She desired to impact more lives through her work, but was stuck using traditional goal-setting methods. I told her, stop thinking about how to reach more people. Instead, feel the vibration of already touching countless lives. Feel the satisfaction, the fulfillment, the joy of it. Within months, she had opportunities to teach internationally. You see, she didn't create these opportunities through words or planning. She created them by maintaining the vibration of her desire fulfilled. Now let us discuss something crucial about this process. Most people try to use their imagination as a tool separate from themselves. But I tell you this, your imagination is not a tool. It is your very self. It is God in action within you. And God does not create through words alone, but through vibration, through feeling, through the sensation of reality. Consider the words of Jesus. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. Notice he doesn't say they are mere words, they are spirit. They are vibration, they are living energy. This is why when you imagine something, you must do more than see it or think about it. You must feel it, sense it, become one with its vibration. This is what Jesus meant when he said, I and my Father are one. He was expressing his complete unity with the vibration of his desires fulfilled. Let me share another profound truth about vibration and imagination. When you enter into the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you are literally rearranging the substance of the universe. This is not metaphysical thinking. This is scientific fact clothed in scriptural language. Think about the story of creation. God didn't just speak the world into existence. He felt it, experienced it, became one with it through imagination and vibration. This is exactly what you must do with your desires. You see, my dear friends, every desire you hold is already fulfilled in what I call the kingdom, the realm of pure vibration and imagination. Your task is not to create it through words or effort, but to tune yourself to its frequency, to feel its reality, to become one with its vibration. Let me tell you about someone who understood this perfectly. A gentleman came to me wanting to transform his relationships. He had been using affirmations and positive self-talk without success. I told him, stop using words to try to change your relationships. Instead, feel the vibration of having perfect, harmonious relationships. Feel the love, the understanding, the connection. Within weeks, his relationships began to transform. You see, he didn't change them through words or actions. He changed them by maintaining the vibration of his desire fulfilled. Now let us explore another aspect of this truth. In Scripture we read, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This substance is not words or thoughts, it is vibration. It is the feeling tone of your desire fulfilled. You see, when you have true faith, you don't hope for something to happen in the future, you feel its reality now. You vibrate at the frequency of its fulfillment now. This is what Jesus meant when he said, before Abraham was, I am. Let me share another principle that will transform your understanding of manifestation. Most people think they need to change their circumstances to achieve their desires. But I tell you this, you need only change your vibration, your feeling state, and circumstances will change themselves. Consider the story of Daniel in the lion's den. He didn't survive because of words he spoke or prayers he said. He survived because he maintained the vibration of perfect safety and divine protection. This is exactly how your imagination works when properly employed. You see, when you maintain the vibration of your desire fulfilled, you create what I call a bridge of incidents, a series of apparently unrelated events that lead to the manifestation of your desire. This is why Scripture tells us all things work together for good to them that love God. Let me tell you about an artist who applied this principle perfectly. She wanted to showcase her work in major galleries, but was struggling with traditional networking and promotion. I told her, stop trying to make it happen through words and actions. Instead, feel the vibration of being a successful, recognized artist. Feel the satisfaction, the fulfillment, the reality of it. Within months, she had exhibitions in 3 major galleries. You see, she didn't achieve this through effort or planning. She achieved it by maintaining the vibration of her desire fulfilled. Now let us discuss something crucial about this process of manifestation through vibration. Most people think they need to repeat their desire many times or visualize it frequently. But I tell you this, what you need is not repetition, but intensity of feeling, intensity of vibration. Consider the words of Jesus, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Notice he doesn't say believe that you will receive it, he says believe that you have received it. This is about maintaining the vibration of fulfillment now. You see, my dear friends, when you enter into the feeling of your desire fulfilled, when you maintain its vibration, you are literally rearranging the atoms and molecules of your world. This is why Scripture tells us all things are possible to him that believeth. Let me share another profound truth about vibration and imagination. When you imagine something while maintaining its vibrational frequency, you are not creating something new. You are tuning into something that already exists in the realm of pure potential. Think of it this way, every possibility already exists in what quantum physicists call the field of infinite possibilities. Your imagination, operating through vibration, simply tunes you to the frequency of your desired possibility, making it manifest in your physical experience. This is what Jesus meant when he said, seek ye first the kingdom of God. The kingdom is not a place, it is a vibrational state where all possibilities exist simultaneously. When you enter into the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you are literally entering this kingdom. Let me tell you about a writer who understood this perfectly. She had been struggling to complete her novel, using various writing techniques and affirmations without success. I told her, stop trying to write the book through effort and words. Instead, feel the vibration of being a successful author. Feel the satisfaction of having completed your novel. Feel the joy of readers being transformed by your work. Within 3 months, she had completed her novel and secured a publisher. You see, she didn't achieve this through technique or effort. She acted by maintaining the vibration of her desire fulfilled. Now, as we bring this discussion to a close, I want you to understand something fundamental about vibration and imagination. Your imagination is not separate from the creative force of the universe. It is that creative force individualized as you. When you imagine something while maintaining its vibrational frequency, you are literally God in action. This is why Scripture tells us, I am that I am. This is not a statement of identity, it is a statement of creative power through vibration and imagination. Remember this, the universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your vibrational state. Your imagination doesn't create through language. It creates through feeling, through vibration, through the sensation of reality. The choice is yours. You can continue trying to create through words and effort, or you can step into your divine power and create through vibration and imagination. The difference between these approaches is the difference between seeking and finding. So I tell you this, stop trying to use words to create your reality. Start feeling the vibration of your desire fulfilled. Maintain that feeling regardless of appearances. Trust in the law that shapes all things according to your conscious assumptions. For when you master this, when you truly understand how to create through vibration and imagination, you become more than just a creator of circumstances. You become aware of your true nature as the operant power of the universe itself. This is your birthright. This is your true identity. This is who you really are. Thank you, and good night.
I want to reveal to you why these words hold such tremendous power and how you can use them to manifest everything you've ever desired. You see, most people spend their entire life searching outside themselves for power, for permission, for validation. They believe their desires must be achieved through hard work, struggle, and external forces. But I tell you this, all power resides within your own consciousness. When you declare, I'm the power, you are acknowledging the fundamental truth of existence. You are recognizing that the force that moves the stars and grows the flowers is the same force that flows through your consciousness. Let me tell you something profound about these 4 words. When you speak them, you're not making a mere affirmation. You're declaring your true nature, your essential being. You're acknowledging the creative force within you. Consider this. Every great achievement in human history began with someone recognizing their inner power. They didn't wait for external permission. They didn't seek validation from others. They understood that all power flows from within. You see, most people have it backwards. They say, when I have this, then I will be powerful. But I tell you this, you must first assume your power, and then all things become possible. These 4 words, I am the power, are not just words to be spoken. They must be felt. They must be lived. They must become your dominant state of consciousness. Let me share with you what happens when you truly embody these words. The entire universe must reorganize itself to reflect your new self-concept. This is not metaphysics. This is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about what you want to manifest. But I tell you this, manifestation is not about getting something you don't have. It's about revealing what already exists within your consciousness. When you declare, I am the power, you're not creating power. You're acknowledging what has always been true. This recognition changes everything. Your entire world must shift to align with this declaration. You see, most people approach manifestation like beggars, hoping and wishing for their desires to be granted. But when you know I am the power, you approach life as a creator, knowing that what you decree must manifest. Let me share something profound about consciousness. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything you see in your world is simply consciousness made visible. Therefore, when you declare I am the power, you're literally reshaping your entire universe. Think about this. Every morning when you wake up, you're either reinforcing your powerlessness or claiming your power. There's no neutral position. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption is either aligning with I am the power or denying it. You see, these 4 words are not just a positive affirmation. They are a recognition of the fundamental truth of your being. When you truly grasp this, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. Most of you have been taught to look for power in external circumstances, in money, in relationships, in social status. But I tell you this, all these things are merely effects. The cause lies in your consciousness. Consider what happens when you truly know, I am the power. You no longer beg, you no longer plead, you no longer hope. You simply decree, and by law, your decree must manifest. Let me share with you why these words are so transformative. When you declare, I am the power, you're shifting your entire self-concept. You're no longer seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances, but as the creator of circumstances. You see, most people spend their lives reacting to what they see. But when you know I am the power, you understand that what you see is simply your consciousness pushed out. Therefore, to change what you see, you must change your consciousness. Think about this. Every great achievement began with someone knowing they were the power. They didn't wait for conditions to change. They change conditions by changing their consciousness. Let me share with you what happens in the depths of consciousness when you truly embody these 4 words. Your entire world begins to reorganize itself to match your new self-concept. You see, most people believe their circumstances dictate their state of being. But when you declare, I am the power, you reverse this process. Your state of being now dictates your circumstances. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There is no middle ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to external conditions. Let me tell you something profound about manifestation. When you know I am the power, you stop asking how things will manifest. You understand that the power that knows the way will make the way. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your problems, your limitations, your obstacles. But I tell you this, these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten I am the power. You see, when you truly embody these 4 words, you enter a new dimension of being. In this dimension, problems don't need to be solved. They simply dissolve in the light of your consciousness. Think about this. Everything you see in your world right now is the result of your previous concepts about yourself. Change the concept by knowing I am the power, and your world must change. Let me share with you the true meaning of these words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a positive statement. You're acknowledging your true identity. Most of you have been taught to look for causes outside yourself. But when you know I am the power, you understand that you are the only cause in your world. Consider this carefully. Every condition in your life right now is simply a shadow of your consciousness. When you truly know I am the power, you cease fighting shadows and start changing consciousness. Let me tell you about the transformative nature of these 4 words. When you declare I am the power, you're not just changing your thoughts. You're changing the very foundation of your reality. You see, most people live their entire lives believing they're victims of circumstances. But when you truly embody I am the power, you understand that circumstances are merely reflections of consciousness. Consider what happens when you wake up each morning knowing I'm the power. Suddenly, obstacles become opportunities. Problems become possibilities. Every challenge becomes a chance to demonstrate your creative power. Let me share something profound about these words. When you declare I am the power, You're not making a future promise. You're claiming a present reality. This distinction changes everything. Most of you sit here thinking about what you want to create in your future. But I tell you this, there is no future creation. There's only present assumption. When you know I am the power, you understand that what you assume now must manifest. You see, these 4 words are not just a statement. They are a complete shift in consciousness. When you truly embody them, you cease looking outside yourself for anything. Think about this. Every time you say, I can't, or it's too difficult, you're denying these 4 words. You're giving your power away to external conditions. Let me tell you what happens when you consistently maintain this consciousness. Your entire world must reshape itself to reflect your new self-concept. Most of you have spent years accumulating evidence of your limitations. But when you know I am the power, you understand that all past evidence is irrelevant. Only your present assumption matters. Consider this. Every great achievement in your life began with a shift in consciousness. When you knew you could, you did. These 4 words simply make this knowing permanent. Let me share with you something profound about these 4 words that most will never understand. When you declare, I am the power, you're not just making a statement. You're activating the very force that created the universe. You see, most people spend their lives waiting for permission to be powerful. They wait for the right circumstances, the right credentials, the right moment. But I tell you this, the only permission you need is your own recognition that I am the power. Consider what happens in your world when you truly embody these words. Your relationships change because you no longer seek power from others. Your work transforms because you no longer depend on external validation. Your entire life shifts because you're operating from a new dimension of consciousness. Let me tell you about the subtle shift that occurs when you consistently maintain this state. You stop asking, when will my desire manifest? Because you understand that manifestation is not a future event. It's a present moment recognition. Most of you have been taught that power is something to be acquired. But when you declare I'm the power, you understand that power is your natural state. Everything else is learned powerlessness. You see, these 4 words challenge everything you've been taught about. Cause and effect. When you know I am the power, you understand that consciousness is the only cause and everything else is effect. Think about this. Every time you say I hope or I wish, you're denying these 4 words. You're placing power outside yourself in some future event or external circumstance. Let me share with you what happens when you maintain this consciousness consistently. Your entire world must rearrange itself to match your new self-concept. This is not theory, this is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your past failures, your current limitations, your future obstacles. But I tell you this, all of these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten I am the power. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There is no neutral ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to anything external. Let me reveal to you the deeper meaning behind these 4 words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a casual statement. You're aligning yourself with the fundamental creative force of the universe. You see, most people live their entire lives believing that power lies in their actions, their resources, their connections. But I tell you this, all these are merely expressions of consciousness. When you know I am the power, your actions flow from this knowing. Consider what happens when you approach each day from this consciousness. You no longer wake up wondering what the day will bring. You wake up knowing that you bring to the day whatever you decree in consciousness. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs when you live from these 4 words. You stop seeking validation from others because you understand that all validation comes from within. You stop fighting circumstances because you know that circumstances are merely shadows. Most of you have spent years trying to change effects while leaving the cause untouched. But when you declare, I am the power, you go straight to the cause, your own consciousness.
You see, these 4 words contain within them the secret of all creation. When you truly embody them, You understand that everything in your world is simply your consciousness pushed out.
Think about this. Every time you blame external conditions for your state, you're denying these 4 words. You're giving away your creative power to shadows. Let me share with you what happens when this consciousness becomes natural to you. You stop asking, how will this happen? Because you understand that the power that knows the way will make the way. Most of you sit here thinking about what's possible and what's impossible. But I tell you this, possibility and impossibility exist only in consciousness. When you know I am the power, all things become possible. Consider this. Every limitation in your life right now exists only because you've accepted it in consciousness. When you truly embody these 4 words, all limitations dissolve. Let me share with you something profound about these 4 words that will forever change how you view manifestation. When you declare I am the power, you're not just speaking words. You're awakening to your true identity. You see, most people spend their lives seeking power through achievement, through accumulation, through recognition. But I tell you this, all seeking ends when you realize that you are what you've been seeking. Consider what happens when you truly grasp these words. You stop looking for signs, you stop waiting for permission, you stop seeking approval, because when you know I am the power, what else could you possibly need? Let me tell you about the shift that occurs in your relationships when you embody these words. You no longer need others to complete you, to validate you, to empower you. You become complete within yourself, and paradoxically, this completeness attracts more fulfilling relationships. Most of you have been taught that power comes from doing. But when you declare I'm the power, you understand that power comes from being. Your doing then flows naturally from your being. You see, these 4 words revolutionize your entire approach to manifestation. You stop trying to make things happen and start allowing them to unfold from your consciousness. Think about this. Every time you say, I'll try or I hope, you're actually denying your power. You're placing the fulfillment of your desires in some uncertain future. Let me share with you what happens. When you maintain this consciousness consistently, your entire world must reshape itself to reflect this new self-concept. This is not magic, this is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about what you need to do to manifest your desires. But I tell you this, manifestation is not about doing, it's about being. When you know I am the power, the doing takes care of itself. Consider this. Every great achievement in history began with someone knowing their power. They didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. They understood that conditions respond to consciousness, you see. Most people spend their lives in reaction mode, responding to circumstances, adapting to conditions. But I tell you this, when you know I am the power, you create circumstances, you determine conditions. Consider what happens when you approach each moment from this consciousness. You no longer see problems as obstacles, you see them as opportunities to demonstrate your creative power. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs in your financial world when you embody these words. Money ceases to be something you chase and becomes something you attract through your consciousness of abundance. Most of you have been programmed to believe that success requires struggle. But when you declare, I am the power, you understand that success is simply the natural expression of your consciousness. You see, these 4 words completely transform your relationship with time. When you truly know I am the power, you cease postponing your good to some future date. Think about this. Every time you say, when I have this, then I'll be powerful, you're denying your present power. You're placing your power in external conditions. Let me share with you what happens when this consciousness becomes your natural state. The entire experience of reality shifts. What seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your past failures, your present limitations, your future uncertainties. But I tell you this, all these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten its power. Consider this, every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There's no middle ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to anything external. Let me share with you the final and most crucial understanding about these 4 words. When you declare I am the power, you are making the ultimate declaration of independence from all external influences. You see, tonight marks a turning point in your life. From this moment forward, you will never again see yourself as powerless. You will never again give your power away to circumstances, to other people, or to past experiences. Consider this moment right now. As you sit here absorbing these words, you have a choice. You can continue living as you have been, seeing power as something outside yourself, or you can claim your true identity by knowing I am the power. Let me tell you what your world will look like when you fully embody these words. Everything that once seemed like an obstacle will become a stepping stone. Every challenge will become an opportunity to demonstrate your creative power. Most of you came here tonight seeking answers. But I tell you this, the only answer you need is already within you. It is the knowing, the absolute conviction that I am the power. You see, these 4 words are not just a technique or a method. They are a complete revolution in consciousness. When you truly embody them, your entire world must transform. Think about tomorrow morning when you wake up. Will you rise as the same person who came here tonight? Or will you rise knowing I am the power, ready to create your day consciously? Let me share with you this final truth. There's no power outside of you. There never was and there never will be. All power resides in consciousness, and you are that consciousness. From this moment forward, let every breath you take be a reminder that I am the power. Let every heartbeat affirm this truth. Let every step you take be from this consciousness. Remember, you are not becoming powerful. You are simply recognizing what has always been true. You are the power that creates worlds. You are the power that moves mountains. You are the power that transforms lives. Tonight, make this sacred commitment to yourself. Promise that you will never again deny your power. Promise that you will never again give your power away. Promise that you will live every moment from the consciousness that I am the power. For this promise lies your freedom. In this recognition lies your transformation. In this knowing lies everything you have ever desired. Go forth now, not as seekers, but as knowers, not as hopeful dreamers, but as conscious creators, not as victims of circumstances, but as mine. For when you know, truly know, I am the power, nothing in this world can stand against you. Nothing can deny you. Nothing can limit you. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your power. Now rise up and claim it. Rise up and live it. Rise up and be it. For you are the power. You have always been the power. And you will always be the power. Let this be your final understanding, your ultimate truth, your eternal knowing. I am the power. And so it is.
I wish to share with you a profound truth that has eluded countless individuals in their pursuit of their desires. The very reason most people remain trapped in their current circumstances, unable to manifest their dreams, lies in their misunderstanding of one fundamental principle. You see, the world you experience at this very moment is nothing more than the outward projection of your inner assumptions. Every success, every failure, every circumstance in your life is a direct reflection of what you have accepted as true in your consciousness. The key step that most people miss, and this is crucial, is that they fail to occupy the state of the wish fulfilled. They pray, they hope, they work hard, but they continue to live from their current state of consciousness rather than the state they desire to express. Let me explain this more deeply. When you want something, be it wealth, love, success, or any other desire, you must first understand that it already exists in what I call the fourth dimensional world. This is the world of infinite possibilities, the world of imagination, where all things already exist in their perfect form. The secret lies not in working towards your desire, but in accepting that you already possess it. This is where most people stumble. They continue to see their desire as something to be achieved in the future, thereby perpetuating the state of wanting rather than having. Think for a moment. When you say, I want to be successful, you are actually confirming and reinforcing your current state of lack. You are declaring to your subconscious mind that success is something outside of you, something you don't currently possess. This very assumption keeps you locked in the state of wanting. Instead, you must dare to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. If you desire success, you must go about your day feeling successful, thinking from success, acting from success, not as a future state to be achieved, but as a present fact. This is not mere positive thinking or affirmation. This is a complete transformation of your consciousness. You must feel the naturalness of being what you want to be. If you desire wealth, you must feel wealthy now. If you desire love, you must feel loved now. If you desire success, you must feel successful now. The power of your assumption, when persisted in, becomes your reality. This is law. Just as the seed contains within itself the full potential of the mature plant, your consciousness contains within itself the full potential of all you desire to be. Most people live their entire lives never realizing that their imagination is actually the very substance of reality. They see imagination as mere fantasy, as something separate from what they call reality. But I tell you this, your imagination is reality itself in its first stage of manifestation. Consider this, everything you now accept as real in your world was once only imagined. The chair you're sitting on, the clothes you're wearing, the building you're in, all were first imagined before they became what you now accept as reality. This is the pattern of creation. The same principle applies to your desires. The state you wish to occupy already exists in your imagination. It is as real as anything you now accept as fact. The only difference is your assumption about what is real and what is imagined. Let me share with you a profound truth. You never attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is determined by the state you occupy in consciousness. This is why affirmations alone often fail. You cannot affirm externally what you deny internally. The key step that people miss is the complete surrender to the state desired. They try to make things happen instead of allowing things to happen through the natural law of assumption. They stand outside their desire, looking at it instead of living from within it. When you truly grasp this principle, you will understand that there is nothing to change but your assumptions about yourself and your world. The outer world must conform to your inner assumptions. This is law. Many of you sit here tonight thinking, yes, but how do I change my assumptions? The answer is simpler than you might imagine. Yet it requires a complete reversal of your traditional thinking. Instead of working hard to achieve something, you must assume that you already have it. The art of assumption is the most vital skill you must master. When you assume a state, you must persist in that state until it becomes your dominant feeling. This is where people falter. They test the law instead of proving it through persistent assumption. Let me tell you something profound. Your consciousness is the only reality. Right now, as you sit here, you might believe that your senses define reality. But I tell you, your senses only show you what your consciousness has already accepted as true. Think about this carefully. Every night when you sleep, you enter different states in your dreams. In those dreams, you experience sights, sounds, and sensations that feel completely real. Where do these experiences come from? They come from consciousness itself. They come from consciousness deliberately creating these experiences. The difference between your dream state and your waking state is only in the intensity of your assumption. What you now consider reality is simply a more intense and persistent dream that you've collectively agreed upon. Now, here's where most people miss the crucial step. They fail to understand that they can wake up from their current dream, their current state, by assuming a new state with the same intensity that they assume their present state. You see, at this very moment, you are assuming certain things about yourself. You're assuming your name, your job, your relationships, your financial status. These assumptions feel so natural to you that you don't even question them. This is the key. Whatever you assume with complete conviction must externalize itself in your world. But here's the vital truth that most miss. You can assume something new with the same naturalness. This is not pretense. This is not make-believe. This is the creative use of the same power that sustains your present assumptions. When you go to sleep tonight, you naturally assume you're in your bed. You don't question it. You don't doubt it. This same unquestioning acceptance must be applied to your desired state. Listen carefully now, for this is where the secret of manifestation lies. When you assume your desire fulfilled, you must do it with the same naturalness with which you assume your bed is real when you lie down to sleep. This naturalness is the key that most seekers miss. Your imagination, when properly directed, is not mere daydreaming. It is the very substance of reality. Every time you imagine something, you are literally creating a mold into which the substance of your world will flow. But, and this is crucial, you must remain faithful to your imaginal act. Most people perform an imaginal act and then return to their old state of consciousness. They imagine themselves wealthy for a moment, then open their eyes and react to their current financial situation. This vacillation between states prevents the manifestation of their desire. You must understand this. The moment you assume a new state, your entire world must rearrange itself to accommodate your new assumption. This is law. But you must give it time to externalize. The seed must have time to grow. Let me share with you a principle that few understand. Time is not a distance to be traveled. It is a sequence of states to be experienced. When you assume your desire fulfilled, you have actually entered the state where your desire exists. The time it takes to externalize is merely the time required for you to feel natural in that state. Most people fail because they don't grasp this truth. The feeling of naturalness is the key. If being wealthy feels unnatural to you, if being loved feels unnatural, if success feels unnatural, then you are not truly occupying that state. You are merely visiting it in your imagination. You must persist in your new state until it feels just as natural as your present state now feels. This is where faith comes in. Not faith in some external power, but faith in the law that consciousness is the only reality. When you truly grasp this, you will understand that there is nothing to change but your conception of self. Change that and you change your entire world. Now, let me share with you something profound about the nature of your consciousness. Your I amness, your awareness of being, is God Himself individualized. When you say I am, you are proclaiming the name of God, for that is the true name of God. I am that I am. A fatal mistake that most people make is that they do not understand this power of I am. They use it unconsciously, carelessly, not realizing that whatever follows I am is what they are decreeing into existence. When you say, I am poor, I am sick, I am unlucky, you are literally commanding these states into being. This is the key step that people miss. They do not watch their assumptions. Every time you react to an event, every time you speak about yourself, you are setting into motion the law that shapes your world. Your I am is your consciousness, and your consciousness is the only reality. Consider this. Right now, you are saying, I am, to everything you accept as true about yourself. These assumptions have become so natural that you don't even recognize them as assumptions. They feel like facts. But I tell you, they are only facts because you have given them the power of your assumption. The secret of manifestation lies in transferring your awareness from one state to another. You must cease to be the person you believe yourself to be and assume the consciousness of the person you wish to be. This is not pretense. This is the creative use of the only power that exists. When you say, I am successful, I am wealthy, I am loved, you are not lying to yourself. You are actually entering into that state in consciousness. And since consciousness is the only reality, you are literally creating that reality. But, and this is crucial, you must persist in that state until it feels natural. This is where most people fail. They make a bold declaration of what they want to be, but they don't persist until it feels natural. They don't give the seed time to grow. You see, manifestation follows the divine pattern. Just as a seed must be planted and given time to grow, Your assumption must be planted in consciousness and given time to externalize. The law operates with mathematical precision. Whatever you are conscious of being, you will manifest. There is no other way. This is why your current world perfectly reflects your past assumption. Every detail of your life, every relationship, every circumstance is the flowering of seeds you have planted in your consciousness. Most people spend their lives trying to change things on the outside while maintaining the same consciousness. They try to change their world while remaining in the same state. This is like trying to harvest different fruits while planting the same seeds. It is against law. Listen carefully now, for I am about to share with you the secret of effective prayer. True prayer is not begging or beseeching an external power. True prayer is assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. When you pray, you must pray believing that you have already received. This is where faith enters. But faith is not what most people think it is. Faith is not believing that something will happen in the future. Faith is accepting as fact what your senses deny. It is living from the end, feeling the reality of your desire fulfilled, while your senses tell you otherwise. Most people miss this crucial step. They pray and then look for evidence of answer. But I tell you, the evidence will only appear after you have persisted in your assumption. You must live as though your prayer has already been answered. Think about this. When you order something from a catalog, you don't keep ordering it over and over. You place the order once and then wait for its delivery. The same is true with your desires. You place your order with consciousness by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. And then you wait in the absolute confidence that it must externalize. But here's the vital point that most miss. While you're waiting, you must maintain the consciousness of having already received. You must live from the end. Your actions, your words, your attitudes must all spring from the assumption that your desire is already a fact. This is not easy, I know. The evidence of your senses will constantly try to pull you back to your old state. But you must persist. You must remain faithful to your assumption, despite all evidence to the contrary. Now, let me share with you another crucial aspect that most people overlook. Your consciousness is not confined to your physical body. Your consciousness extends to everything you are aware of. Therefore, when you change your consciousness, you change everything that falls within its range. This is why you cannot change others directly. You can only change them by changing your consciousness of them. Whatever you consciously assume about another must be manifested in your relationship with them. This is law. Most people try to change others through external means, through persuasion, through force, through manipulation. But I tell you, the only way to change another is to change your consciousness of them. Change your assumption about them, and they must conform to your new assumption. This applies to every area of your life. your financial situation, your health, your relationships, all are simply outpicturings of your assumptions. When you change your assumption, the whole vast world must change to reflect your new consciousness. But here's where people stumble. They do not persist in their new assumption long enough for it to become natural. They venture into a new state of consciousness, but retreat at the first sign of contradiction. They are like farmers who dig up the seed to see if it's growing. You must understand this. The time between your assumption and its manifestation is not a period of inaction. It is a period of gestation. Just as a pregnant woman carries her child while going about her normal activities, you must carry your assumption while continuing with your daily life. During this period, you may face what seem to be contradictions to your assumption. Your senses may tell you that nothing has changed. This is the time when most people abandon their assumption and return to their old state. But I tell you, these apparent contradictions are actually signs that the law is working. Just as a seed must first dissolve before it can grow, your old conditions must often appear to worsen before they give way to your new state. This is law. The old must die for the new to be born. Therefore, I tell you this with absolute certainty. The key step that most people miss is not in the doing, but in the being. They focus on what they must do to achieve their desires, when they should be focusing on what they must be. Remember this eternal truth. Your world is yourself, pushed out. Everything you see, everything you experience is simply yourself externalized. There is no one to change but self. When you change your concept of self, you change your entire world. The great secret of life is this: there is no one to tell you no except yourself. There is no one to deny you except yourself. There is no one to delay your good except yourself. You are the power you have been seeking. You are the authority you have been waiting for. In closing, let me give you this final crucial understanding. Tonight, as you leave this place, you have a choice. You can continue to live from your old assumptions, thereby perpetuating your current conditions. Or you can dare to assume a new state of consciousness, thereby creating a new world. The choice is yours, and yours alone. But remember this: whatever state you assume, whatever concept you hold of yourself, will externalize itself in your world with mathematical precision. This is not theory, and this is law. So I say to you, dare to assume that you are what you want to be. Dare to enter into the state of your wish fulfilled. Dare to live from the end, for in this daring lies the key that most people miss. The key to all manifestation. Go forth now, not to make things happen, but to allow things to happen by virtue of your changed consciousness. Go forth, not to achieve, but to receive what is already yours by right of consciousness. Go forth, not to become, but to be what you desire to be. For I tell you this: the kingdom of heaven is within you, and that kingdom contains all that you could ever desire. Your assumption is the key that unlocks this kingdom. Use it wisely, use it lovingly, use it persistently. And remember always, you are the operant power. You are the consciousness through which all things emerge. You are the God of your universe, and your consciousness is the only reality. The state you assume today is the world you will experience tomorrow. Choose wisely, persist faithfully, and watch as your world transforms itself to match your assumption. That is all, and that is enough.
Let me ask you something that might shake your entire worldview. What if you've been approaching success completely backward? What if, instead of working to become victorious, you simply needed to assume the feeling of victory now? You see, most people live their entire lives waiting to feel victorious. They say, when I achieve this goal, then I'll feel like a winner. But I tell you this, you must feel like a winner first, and then the achievements will naturally follow. Consider this, every great achievement in history began with someone who acted as though they had already won before any physical evidence existed. They carried themselves with the confidence of victory while others saw only defeat. Let me share something profound with you about the nature of victory. Victory isn't an event. It's a state of consciousness. When you truly grasp this, your entire world will transform. You see, most people are waiting for circumstances to make them feel victorious. But I tell you this, circumstances don't create your feelings create circumstances. Think about how you carry yourself when you know you've won something. There's a certain swagger in your step, a gleam in your eye, a confidence in your voice. This is the state you must adopt now, before any external evidence exists. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your goals, your dreams, your aspirations. But I tell you this, as long as you see these things as future achievements, they will remain in the future. You must live from the end now. Consider what happens when you truly adopt the attitude of someone who has already won. Your entire world must reshape itself to match this new self-concept. This is law. Let me share with you what happens in consciousness when you assume the feeling of victory. Your entire being shifts. Your posture changes. Your voice carries new authority. Your decisions come from a place of confidence rather than fear. Let me tell you something profound about this victorious attitude. When you truly embody it, you're not pretending. You're claiming your natural state. Victory is not something foreign to you. It's your inherent nature. You see, most people approach life from a position of hoping to win. But I tell you this, hope is just another form of doubt. When you know you've already won, there's no need for hope because certainty has replaced it. Consider how differently you move through the world when you know the game is already won. You don't stress about small setbacks. You don't worry about temporary obstacles. You move with the calm confidence of someone who knows the final outcome. Let me share with you what happens when you maintain this victorious consciousness consistently. People begin responding to you differently. Opportunities seemingly appear out of nowhere. Doors that were closed suddenly open. Most of you have been taught to wait for victory to feel victorious. But I tell you this, that's exactly backward. You must feel victorious first, and then victory will manifest in your world. You see, this attitude of victory isn't about arrogance or ego. It's about aligning yourself with your true nature. When you act like you've already won, you're simply acknowledging what's already true in consciousness. Think about how you breathe when you're victorious. It's deep, it's confident, it's relaxed. This is how you should be breathing right now, regardless of current circumstances. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs when you maintain this state. Your decisions change because you're no longer operating from a place of fear or lack. You make choices as someone who knows they cannot fail. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about past failures, current struggles, future uncertainties. But I tell you this, all these are irrelevant when you adopt the consciousness of victory, consider this: every time you doubt, every time you worry, every time you fear, you're denying your victorious nature. You're choosing to act from a consciousness of defeat rather than victory. Let me share with you what happens in the depths of your being. When you truly embrace this victorious attitude, your entire nervous system begins to operate differently. Your body language changes automatically. Your voice carries a new resonance. You see, most people are waiting for something external to give them permission to feel victorious. But I tell you this: the only permission you need is your own decision to embody victory now. Consider what happens when you walk into a room knowing you've already won. Not hoping, not wishing, not planning to win, but knowing with absolute certainty that victory is already yours. The entire atmosphere changes. Let me tell you about the subtle shift that occurs in your relationships when you maintain this victorious consciousness. People begin treating you according to your own self-concept. They respond not to your words, but to the victory you radiate. Most of you have spent years rehearsing defeat in your mind, imagining worst-case scenarios, preparing for failure. But I tell you this: every time you do this, you're denying your victorious nature. You see, this attitude of victory transforms even the smallest actions of your day. When you know you've already won, even the way you sip your morning coffee changes. Everything becomes an expression of victory. Think about how you make decisions when you know you cannot fail. You move with boldness, with certainty, with absolute conviction. This is how you should be moving through every moment of your life. Let me share with you what happens when this victorious consciousness becomes your natural state. You stop asking, what if I fail? Because failure becomes impossible in your consciousness. You only see paths to victory. Most of you have been conditioned to believe that victory must be earned through struggle and hardship. But I tell you this: victory is your natural state. The struggle comes from resisting this truth. Consider how your entire world must reshape itself when you maintain this consciousness consistently. Everything that doesn't align with your victorious nature must fall away. When you truly embody victory, you're not just changing your mindset, you're altering the very fabric of your reality. You see, most people spend their lives preparing for victory, planning for victory, hoping for victory, but I tell you this: all of that preparation is useless if you don't assume the feeling of victory now. Consider what happens when you wake up each morning already feeling victorious. Your morning routine becomes a victory lap, not a preparation for battle. Your breakfast isn't fuel for the fight. It's a celebration of success. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs in your work when you maintain this consciousness. Tasks that once seemed daunting become opportunities to express your victorious nature. Challenges become stages for your triumph. Most of you have been taught that confidence comes after achievement. But I tell you this: achievement comes after confidence. When you act like you've already won, success becomes inevitable. You see, this victorious attitude completely transforms how you handle setbacks. When you know you've already won, obstacles become merely temporary illusions, stepping stones to your already secured victory. Think about how differently you approach problems. When you know their solution is guaranteed, the stress dissolves. The anxiety vanishes. All that remains is the calm certainty of inevitable success. Let me share with you what happens when you maintain this state consistently. Your entire being begins to radiate victory. People feel it when you enter a room. Opportunities are naturally drawn to you. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about all the things you need to do to become victorious. But I tell you this: victory isn't something you become. It's something you express right now. Consider this: every time you postpone feeling victorious until after some future achievement, you're pushing victory away. Victory must be claimed in the present moment. Let me share with you a deeper truth about this victorious attitude that will revolutionize your understanding. When you act like you've already won, you're not pretending. You're aligning with an existing reality in consciousness. You see, most people approach victory as something distant, something to be achieved through struggle and effort. But I tell you this: victory exists right now in your consciousness, waiting to be recognized and expressed. Consider what happens in your financial world when you maintain this victorious consciousness. Money ceases to be something you chase and becomes something naturally drawn to your victorious state. Success becomes your natural expression. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs in your physical energy when you embody this attitude. Fatigue disappears because you're no longer fighting against life. You're flowing with your natural victorious state. Most of you have been taught that victory requires sacrifice, struggle, and pain. But I tell you this, those are just stories you've accepted. Victory is your natural state, requiring no struggle at all. You see, this victorious attitude completely transforms your relationship with time. When you know you've already won, you stop rushing. You move with the confident pace of someone who knows their triumph is secure. Think about how you breathe when you know you've already won. It's deep, relaxed, confident. This is your natural breath when you're aligned with victory. Adopt this breath now. Let me share with you what happens when this victorious consciousness becomes your default state. Your dreams no longer seem distant or impossible. They become natural expressions of your victorious nature. Most of you sit here tonight wanting to know the exact steps to victory. But I tell you this, there are no steps to what you already are. There's only recognition and expression. Consider this. Every time you doubt yourself, every time you feel uncertain, you're temporarily forgetting your victorious nature. These moments of doubt are simply opportunities to reclaim your true state. Let me reveal to you something profound about acting victorious that most will never grasp. When you embody victory in every moment, you're not just changing your behavior, you're awakening to your true identity. You see, most people treat victory like a distant destination, something to reach after long journeys of effort. But I tell you this, victory is your starting point, not your destination. You begin from victory, not journey toward it. Consider what happens in your mind when you truly grasp this truth. The endless chatter of doubt falls silent. The constant questioning of, am I good enough, disappears. All that remains is the quiet confidence of victory. Let me tell you about the shift that occurs in your physical presence when you maintain this consciousness. Your posture naturally straightens. Your movements become more graceful. Your entire being radiates an unmistakable authority. Most of you have spent years trying to overcome fear, doubt, and insecurity. But I tell you this, you don't overcome these things. You simply outgrow them by maintaining the consciousness of victory. You see, this victorious attitude transforms every interaction in your life. When you know you've already won, conversations change. Meetings change, relationships change. Everything must align with your victorious nature. Think about how you make decisions when you know success is guaranteed. There's no hesitation, no second guessing, no fear of consequences. This is your natural state of being. Let me share with you what happens when you maintain this state consistently. Your entire world begins to mirror your victorious consciousness. Opportunities that once seemed impossible become natural occurrences. Most of you live constantly preparing for future success, future victory, future achievement. But I tell you this, as long as you place victory in the future, that's where it will remain. Consider this, every moment you spend doubting your victory is a moment spent denying your true nature, your victory itself, expressing itself through your unique form. Let me share with you a truth so profound it will transform your entire approach to life. When you act victorious, you're not just putting on a show, you're tuning into the frequency of your natural state. You see, most people spend their lives reacting to circumstances, letting external events determine their inner state. But I tell you this, when you maintain the consciousness of victory, circumstances must conform to your inner state. Consider what happens to your creative abilities when you operate from this victorious consciousness. Ideas flow effortlessly. Solutions appear spontaneously. Innovation becomes your natural expression. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs in your sleep when you maintain this victorious state. Your rest becomes deeper, more rejuvenating, because you're no longer battling with doubt and uncertainty in your dreams. Most of you are being taught to be realistic about your expectations. But I tell you this, what's realistic to the victorious consciousness far exceeds what's realistic to the consciousness of limitation. You see, this victorious attitude completely revolutionizes how you handle challenges. When you know you've already won, obstacles become opportunities to demonstrate your mastery. Think about how you speak when you know victory is certain. Your words carry authority. Your voice resonates with conviction. Your communication inspires confidence in others. Let me share with you what happens when this victorious consciousness becomes your constant companion. Your very presence becomes a catalyst for positive change in others. Your victory inspires their victory. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about all the reasons why victory might not be possible. But I tell you this, those reasons exist only in a consciousness that has forgotten its true nature. Consider this. Every time you embrace limitation, every time you accept defeat, you're choosing to temporarily forget who you really are. Victory is not something you achieve. It's something you remember. Let me reveal to you something about victory that will forever change how you approach every moment of your life. When you act victorious, you're not pretending. You're acknowledging your innermost truth. You see, most people chase success like hungry wolves chasing prey. But I tell you this, when you embody victory, success chases you. It becomes the natural expression of your being. Consider what happens in your body. When you maintain this victorious consciousness, your immune system strengthens, your energy increases, your entire physical being aligns with this elevated state. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs in your daily habits when you live from this state. Activities that once felt like obligations become celebrations of your victory. Work becomes play. Challenges become adventures. Most of you have been programmed to believe that confidence must come after achievement. But I tell you this, achievement is merely the outer confirmation of the victory you've already claimed in consciousness. You see, this victorious attitude completely transforms your perception of time. Past failures lose their sting because you realize they were simply stepping stones to your current victory. Think about how you walk when you know you're victorious. Your stride lengthens. Your steps become purposeful. Your entire movement expresses the certainty of success. Let me share with you what happens when this victorious consciousness becomes your moment-to-moment reality. Synchronicities increase. Favorable circumstances multiply. Life itself seems to conspire for your success. Most of you have spent years building defenses against failure. But I tell you this, when you maintain the consciousness of victory, there's nothing to defend against. Victory is your natural state. Consider this. Every anxious thought, every worried moment, every fearful anticipation is simply a temporary forgetting of your victorious nature. Return to victory now. Let me share with you the final and most crucial understanding about victory that will complete your transformation. When you maintain the consciousness of victory, you're not becoming something new. You're returning to your original state. You see, most people spend their lives seeking validation from the outer world. But I tell you this, all validation, all confirmation, all proof of your victory must first be established in consciousness. Consider what happens when you move through your entire day from this victorious state. Meetings become opportunities to express your mastery. Challenges become platforms for demonstrating your power. Every moment becomes a celebration of victory. Let me tell you about the final piece of this transformation. When you truly grasp that you've already won, all struggle ceases, all fighting ends, all resistance dissolves. What remains is pure, effortless expression of victory. From this moment forward, I want you to make this sacred commitment to yourself. Promise that you will never again act from a consciousness of defeat. Promise that you will maintain this victorious attitude regardless of appearances. You see, this is the moment where everything changes. This is where you stop seeking victory and start expressing it. This is where you cease struggling to become victorious and simply be victory itself. Think about tomorrow morning when you wake up. Will you rise as the same person who started listening to this message? Or will you rise as victory itself, ready to express your true nature? Let me share with you this final truth. There is no power that can defeat you except your own acceptance of defeat. When you maintain the consciousness of victory, the entire universe must rearrange itself to match your conviction. This is your moment. This is your victory. This is your true nature expressing itself through you. Rise up now, not as someone seeking victory, but as victory itself. Move forward, not as someone hoping to win, but as someone who has already won. Live not as someone becoming victorious, but as victory personified. For in this recognition lies your freedom. In this understanding lies your power. In this knowing lies everything you have ever desired. Go forth now, with the absolute certainty that victory is not your destination. It is your starting point. It is not your goal. It is your nature. It is not your future. It is your eternal now. Let every breath you take be a breath of victory. Let every step you take be a step of triumph. Let every word you speak be a declaration of success. For you are victory itself, expressing itself through your unique form. You have always been victory. You will always be victory. This is your final understanding. This is your ultimate truth. This is your eternal knowing. You are victory itself. And so it is. Rise now and live from this truth. The world is waiting for your victory to express itself. The end is where we begin, for victory was never something to achieve. It was always something to express. Express it now. Express it always. This is your victory. This is your moment. This is your truth. Now and always. Victory is yours.